So this is my 7¼ inch electric loco known as Dragonfly. That's the name it originally had, and that's the name I've given it. I just wanted to do a bit of an off-the-cuff video talking about Dragonfly, its capabilities, some of the features it has, and then also some of my plans for upgrades, modifications and things that I'm planning on doing to it. From what I understand about with my very limited knowledge of its history, I'm a third owner of Dragonfly, and I've just purchased this for my 25th birthday as a bit of an impulse decision, if I'm honest. I was up too late one night and saw the Facebook Marketplace post and just messaged the guy, and then here we are. I now have my own loco. I was also working on designing and building my own locomotive, but I decided to just buy this as the summer's coming up. The summer has already arrived obviously, but I was thinking, do I want to spend the summer building my own loco, or do I want to spend my summer actually driving one and owning one? And this is the decision I came to, which is actually having my own. And I still want to build my own loco, but I can't lie when I say that this has been really, really fun. I don't really regret a thing. So this is literally how it came to me. I've only done one small modification to the locomotive so far, and as you can see, it's basically not really narrow gauge. Maybe it is narrow gauge, I don't know, hard to sort of define, but it is a loco you sit behind. Okay, so if we look kind of for scale, there's my shoe. You probably, or at this point in the video, would already seen some videos of me driving it. This is the second time I've taken it out. We're at the beautiful Andover Model Engineers Society, obviously in Andover, of which I'm a member. It's about an hour and a bit away from where I live, but definitely worth the drive for such an expansive layout. I can't remember how many acres this sits in between, but you can literally get lost out here with all this track. There's one big main loop. I'll show a picture of the map at some point, and then there's two small loops within that, so you literally don't have to go back to the clubhouse, which is sort of down there. At any point you can just keep going round and round, which is what I've been doing so far today. So Dragonfly, as I said, electric loco. It's only 12 volt, so it's lacking a little bit in power, if I'm honest. Going uphill, haven't done any pulling with it yet, apart from one carriage, and that caused it to derail, because annoyingly, both front and back, we've got these chain couplings, which are absolutely crap for this purpose, to be honest with you. Bar couplings are far superior, in my opinion, for sort of a light narrow gauge engine like this. There's no slack basically, so it just pulls the whole time. It doesn't, the bar can't compress, and I'm going to be showing the video process of how I actually modify this to have those bar couplings. You can see a similar situation here at the back with the chain, and again, the whole problem really with the chain is the fact that when the coach catches up, it goes like this, and then when it goes away, it goes like that, and that has caused me to derail once. So I'm not actually pulling anything today. I'm not planning on it anyway, because I want to avoid obviously derailing if I can. If we look inside the quote-unquote cab, down here we've got a few dials and that sort of thing. The only two things in here that are actually functional is the horn button and the light button, which controls that light at the front there. It's actually all controlled with a 4QD motor driver, engine driver, whatever, which is obviously where this hand controller comes from. So this is the first modification I've done, which is this little 3D printed holder for the hand controller. Just means I don't have to just dump it unneatly in there. I can just store it on the outside there. Obviously not very weatherproof, but I don't exactly plan on running it in the rain very often, but it's just a nice little place to store it. We've got a handbrake here, so now the loco can roll, although it does have regenerative braking. There's my GoPro that I've just got in there. If we turn our attention to the tender for now, so obviously this is where you sit, as you can see there, bar coupling, so that's obviously what we want at the front and back instead of the chain. Much better, far superior. Obviously these two parts can come apart quite easily. There's just a little pin that goes in the bar there. We've got a seat, a little bit worse for wear, as you can see. That's one of the things on my list that I'm going to modify, repair, upgrade. I'm going to basically reupholster the seat with some faux leather. We can take the seat off. Well, without actually taking the seat off, we can actually lift up very awkwardly this piece of wood, and you've got a little bit of storage underneath there. But then also very nicely, little hole here. this slides out, and then you've got under seat storage. So currently I have my bag in here, and my girlfriend's birthday present, which I forgot I actually put in here. Obviously she's not going to go snooping around inside my locomotive, or at least I hope not. So this is the hiding place that I've decided for it. But obviously for today I've got my lunch, my water bottle, battery bank, that sort of thing, all in my rucksack in there, which is obviously super convenient. So obviously we can just slide this in. It's a bit awkward, but it's just slides back in between these two parts, and then there's a little shelf somewhere at the back that sits on. There you go. So now that's on there. Obviously if I didn't put it back in place, I'd end up falling inside the tender, which would be very not ideal. And then the seat slots in on there. So the seat is just a sheet of like plywood, then some foam, and then the faux leather on top. Obviously I'm going to replace that leather, make it look a bit neater. I don't really know why it was put together like this with the flap at the back. It's a bit crap, but I'm going to completely redo that. So that's the tender. Obviously you can see there's no branding on it. There's this little sort of 5B symbol down here, and that was already on there. The first owner did have nameplates and did have some branding, quote unquote, like, you know, the railway branding, GWR, whatever, on the tender, but none of that's on there now, so it's completely plain and bare, which I think is a bit sad, but again, it gives me another job to do, which I'm really excited about. So if we go towards the front, a couple of my favourite nice features here, the only things that have been left on there, we've got the metal, nice brass Hunslet nameplate on the front there, which I absolutely love. I'm definitely keeping that, although might need a little bit of a cleaning up. And then you've got the nice Welsh dragon on the front there. Part of my heritage is Wales. My family live there, so you know, obviously definitely keeping that on there as well. I like the green, but I think I do want a different green on there, but that's down the line. It's all about functional upgrades and modifications first, and then moving on to making it look nice. The bonnet, so the whole bonnet lifts off. The light connector is damaged, so currently that's not plugged in. So one of the things I need to change about this is that this gets really hot. It's not an LED bulb, so at some point I'm going to take it apart and see if I can buy an LED bulb with the same connector to replace that. But it is super bright. I'll put a video in here somewhere where I took it out to Beck and Scott recently. So what we can do, very awkward one-handed, is just lift this up, and this completely lifts away. There's no hinges in there, which isn't great, because when you hit a couple of bumps and humps on the way down the track, it does kind of separate a bit from the body, which obviously with all this electrical is not ideal. So again, I've got some hinges I'm going to install on there. I'm also going to make a video probably about that, and obviously you can see all of this on my Instagram as well. So if I do just lift that bonnet away, just place it down on the floor for the moment, you can see we've just got a single battery in here. This fly is really looking forward to getting fried on those electrical connectors there. So as you can see, 4QD DNO5, so one of their sort of bit more basic controllers, but still does the job really nicely. We've got a disc horn in here that's being replaced, so it's a single tone horn. If I just demonstrate, single tone horn, really loud. Going to replace it for a two-tone horn, so you know, the classic of a diesel train. Again, I'll be making a video talking about that a little bit. So we've got the car battery here. Obviously I'm not going to touch those connectors, I'm going to avoid that at all costs, because I don't fancy getting shocked. But these are just tightened enough that they stay on nice and securely, but they can just be lifted off super easily. And all of this is obviously wired together. We've got a fuse in there for some protection. It does also have a key start, so if we come in here a little bit, behind here, there you go, there's a key there. So if that key is in the on position, then all the electrics are working. If the key's not, then you can't run it. So obviously I leave the key in there because I don't think anyone's planning on nicking it, but you know, should I want to remove the key, then if someone did nick it, they wouldn't be able to run it. So as you can see, we've just got one motor, so I think this is the part of the reason we're not got loads of power, but we have got a lay shaft with a nice gear ratio here, so pulling power wise, hopefully that should improve the pulling power a little bit rather than doing a direct drive thing. So I think we've got torque, but maybe not speed. Obviously yet to be seen. Once I've switched over to the bar couplings, then we'll see. This random piece of metal that I found is floating around in here. I don't know where that came from, so it's a bit nerve-wracking, but hopefully it's not anything important. The weird thing about this is there is a metal battery cradle, which is obviously designed for the original battery, which is not this. So what I did is I 3D printed a battery adapter. It's a bit rough. It's printed with a 0.8mm nozzle. It's for obviously speed and strength, in 2 pieces. So basically it's just an adapter. So the battery sits in that, and then the adapter sits in the cradle, and that works really well. Battery's super secure. Obviously it's heavy as well, but I didn't want to risk having it sort of floating around loose in there either. So as for comfort, it is very comfortable to sit on. I haven't actually had any aches and pains yet, although I am having to sort of hunch over a bit because for whatever reason this cable is really short. I mean, that's insanely short. Most of the new 4QD stuff now has much longer cables. No idea why, but I bought some multi-core cable. I think it's 8 core you need for this, so I bought a 2 meter length. I'll trim that down to an appropriate size. And just extend that so I can just sit back a little bit more and relax. But nice thing is my brother very kindly gave me his GoPro, so I've taken some shots of driving along and that sort of thing, and I will definitely make sure to get some more that I can intersplice in this video, just to give you an idea of what this thing looks like when it's going along, and also when I'm sat on it. So driving along, it's a bit loud obviously, so you might not be able to hear me that well, but I'm going up an incline now, so that's why we're losing a bit of power. Should be sounding whistle, but I only got 2 hands. But you can see inside we've got like a ammeter, we've got the horn button, the lights, but it is a bit awkward to actually reach down and activate the horn. You have to lean quite far and reach quite far forward, which is obviously not great. So I'm going to be wiring all of that, the lights and the horn, to the controller. So on the left side you've got a light switch, it's an on or off position, and then on the right side you've got a return to middle switch, so you can have a two-tone horn. So it goes up and then it flicks back to middle and it goes down. So I can buy a couple of snail horns, 2-tone snail horns, and as I said, can have the classic diesel sound. I have no idea if you can hear me right now, but it's worth a shot. Get some shots of me driving along while I'm also explaining. But as I say, none of those dials are actually wired in from what I understand. I think the left one might be, because it's reading 12 volts now. I need to double check, but I don't know if they actually are. Here you can see we're coming up to a signal now, and when I take my thumb off the accelerator, the regen braking really kicks in, and we come to a stop, and I don't need to actually use the handbrake. Now the lights turn green, so we can proceed forward. But overall, I'm really happy with it. Let's just get the bonnet back on. So here we are with the bonnet back on. I thought it best to sort of put it back on before I finish the video and make it look a bit weird, a bit naked. Just one last thing, I put some tape on here to help me lay out where the hinges were going to go, and then I peeled it off and it's all stuck on there, which is really annoying, so it looks a bit crap. But overall, I absolutely love this thing. Really excited to do some modifications to it. I'll of course be posting it on Instagram at the Glebe Railway Company, and obviously here on YouTube as well when I can. Feeling really motivated to make some videos, so keep appraised, stay subscribed, and keep an eye out for updates. Thanks for watching.